Happy Heart Hour. Love plus art equals wellness. I think that that's a lot better. So I'm sitting in the sun. I'm about to set some music up. Let's see if it'll go fast enough. Woo, happy Thursday. Happy Thursday. This is a day that things that are spoken, and as well on Mercury Day, which is Wednesday. So yesterday and today have a lot to do with the word, your word, the word. Let me see, is it going to play? Oh, wow, it's not playing. Take off the Bluetooth and take off the internet. Anyway, how y'all doing? One Love and Wellness. I have been feeling extra fertile these past couple of days, and I think it has everything to do with the season, right? So I decided to go down a little bit of a rabbit hole. My previous message was about resurrection, life, new life, after the thaw, from winter to spring, from death to life or new life, or rebirth. And then I talked about the black sun on the very last episode slash conversation that I had with you guys. And it is stirring up some things that I'm trying to figure out. So the music comes at long last, huh? So it stirred up a bunch of thoughts, right? And I just wanted to be able to share it a bit further with you. Okay, so I'll stop the music for a moment because I see a few of you guys are gathering. One Love and Wellness. Hey, hey, hey. So I've been feeling extra fertile. And because I know it's seasonal, because I know it has to do with the season, and because I've been participating in these recent, I think I need to start moving so I'm not sitting in the sun and it doesn't cut us off. But I believe that this, recently when we have received an update, during the 2020, during the, the CVID timeline, we had some revelations. Russia gave us this Madonna thing. Maybe I should have let you guys see where I was. You know what? I'm just passing the scenic part, so let me turn it around. But, I really feel like the pieces are unfolding, they're unrolling. We have to play catch up, and let's see, can I turn this around? We have to play with the parts that they're giving us. I feel like that there are so many things that are in plain sight. They're not even hidden anymore. It's just up to us to be able to connect the dots and come up with the big picture of it all, right? So, my big picture, with me feeling this fertile, I mean, I'm past fertility age, but for me to feel some fertile pain, some fertility, and I know my glass, my was not the most clear, but I am really feeling like this season, things have been turned up some. My sensitivities with these last couple of weeks of going to these different sessions of elevating my frequency and tuning into a bigger and wider spectrum of things. I hope you can hear me. I hope you can hear what I'm talking about. I'm going to tell you something. These things that I'm feeling, these parts that I'm getting, more. And here go people trying interruption for that call. I cannot answer the call right now. I so apologize. I want to send out a condolences to, there's a new ancestor in my family as of this morning. My daughter's uncle passed. I want to send my condolences to her dad and to the family. That is part of our cycle, right? Part of what's going on with us is, we're seeing more death. We're getting used to death. We're getting used to being exposed to, death in such a way, the depths of it being in our face. It used to be something that we'd hear about, on Dick Tracy or whatever. You'd hear about it, but you didn't get the full insight of it. You didn't get to see what, the goriness of it. And so now that we have gotten more used to having death around us, we are also seeing new ways of bringing life, new ways of bringing forth vessels that will and I'm going to turn the car off. I was going to start off and go ahead on to the highway, but let's go ahead and keep it on this side of things, because otherwise I might have a problem. Let's see, community moderation chat. So yeah, so I'm gonna turn it around. Thanks for going through the gardens with me. Thank you guys. One Love and Wellness, cheer girl. And hey, Megan McQueenie. I appreciate you both for joining me. And here I go, here I am, here I is. So love plus art equals wellness, right? And so my radar, oh, look at these birdies. I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna try not to get so distracted by nature, because that which I am is a nature girl. So I hope you guys are catching my drift and my vibe. I've been tuning into Mother Nature so much so that me feeling this amount of fertility gives me the notion that this time of the year, like this time in particular, this nowness, the what do they say, in the moment, in the now, in no past, no present, this such a time as this. So what I'm seeing, what I'm noticing, what I'm recognizing is that Ishtar, which is coming, she's the goddess of fertility, um, and she's some kind of way. I get the vibe of her in a big mama kind of way, but I'm also getting Osiris energy to a degree. So when I started thinking about the obelisks, that for some reason, I'm just saying, this is not me trying to go after this. This is this coming after me as I get my downloads, as I get my sun gaze, as I get lifted. So, but as I'm looking at the I looked up on Google a couple of things just to see what the associations were, of Osiris and Sirius, even, and it says that, I mean, because, we need to, some of these words, we need to take them seriously. Some of these hidden in plain sight figures of speech, we need to take it seriously. So, okay. So I'm going to read you a couple of the notes that I had, so about the Black Sun resurrection. And Isis had assistance from Anethsis, Thoth, and Anubis, right? Okay, so Thoth is the words, and Anubis is, well, canine or doggish, or also Canis Major, Canis Minor, which takes me back to Sirius, and Sirius being the place where we get marijuana. And I'm just only saying this because, as we get lifted, as we get to a place where we are receiving whatever the transmissions are, the downloads. I don't know what they're doing. I'm sorry. Transmissions and downloads. It seems like there is an association. I don't know if this is a station ID break or what, but the association of dogs. Okay, so our black men went into, like, they were emasculated during slavery. We were separated from our power. That, that black men are well hung, that black men are bigger than most, so these obelisks are up around the world, these huge monuments, these And they're all over the graveyards. They're all over, the world. But there's some key locations on the ley lines that, when you put these pieces in position and put them in place and recognize the energy and the powers that are coming together as we are reassembling our men, as we are right sizing. And I like some of the things that are being said on a certain platform for our leadership, and some things I don't like. It seems like if we are right sizing our views of families being male and female, now that makes me really think about, is that a limitation, or is that expansion something that has a purpose? Meaning the different choices: asexual, bisexual, c-sexual, d-sexual. I don't know all the sexuals, but if we are expanding it, into alternative mindsets, that may or may not, especially with the artificial potentials. Like I said, we've expanded the ways of becoming fertile. We've expanded the things that we actually do birth, clone or grow in a laboratory, or use for parts. Or I've heard of them growing parts on the backs of pigs, on the backs of rats, or on the backs of animals that are of whatever nature that they need for that science project, Frankensteinish kinds of scientific discovery that they're doing. But in the resurrection of the Black Sun, I'm seeing that, as they emasculated us over the years, as they have taken our men away from us, and I say us, okay, all right, whatever, as the melanated man is separated from, with us not having the, um, um, let's say, segregation kinds of, yeah, I don't know. Again, these things encourage different things. Like, are we supposed to be pushing against that? No, we want incorporation into the, amalgamization, or do we want to keep our culture's heritage, lineage, some level of some purities? Are we destined to be uh grays? Are we destined to be a mixing pot, a melting pot, a doll, or what do you call those things? A mutt? I don't know. I just know that I feel right now is a very fertile time for the Black man, the Black female, the black energy, the melanated energy in me is connecting to the Black sun. That Black sun is feeling is I'm getting, really, to be very totally honest, I hate to, am I free enough to say it this way? But it feels like every once in a while I'm just having an orgasm. And it's just like I'm not thinking nothing. Ain't nothing going on. Ain't nobody around me. But I just got this 2, 3 times, once at least today, 2, 3 times, twice yesterday. So I got this feeling of an inner explosion of an exciting manner that was beyond any kind of, butterflies. It was not any, so I'm, and if I check some things, that might be associated with some cosmological celestial activity as well, if I look at it in the right direction, if I search for that information. But hey, I am the book at this point. If I'm sensitive enough to sense that, I'm probably getting some downloads of some other sorts. And I just happen to be on a very connected electromagnetic grid line. I had no idea I was so close. I just knew I'm at the water. And I took you guys on the ride with me to the water. I guess I'm on my way out. And so, hell yeah, that's right. That's what I'm talking about. You guys agreeing with some things I'm saying? That's what's up. Thank you, thank you. So, but there was a few more notes that I had, and I thought it was kind of funny when I was getting ready to take a station ID break. I detoured into another direction, but let me tell you what I was really thinking, which was, I bet the dogs are laughing at us when we walking around scooping the poop. I bet you the mofos, there are some that are learning how to talk on you know, um, those little touch buttons that they get. I or outside or hungry or however they whatever words they put down there for them to put together, string together into sentences. There's some that I've seen that they aren't what you say or what you think they are. They're just taking snips, and you hear the person before and hear the person after, and it kind of that anyway. Hopefully some of those are telling us the truth, but I do think that they are smarter than they are letting on to be, just like babies are smarter than they are able to let on to be. So I don't know. It's like, remember, we've seen some movies where they're introduced to this atmosphere. When they come through the firmament, it's like their minds are wiped clean of the whatever it was that of the former selves. And then once they get to here, then they have to you know experience it from that perspective on. But they have, and I know this, I've had dreams where and I think I astral traveled, and I went into a baby's body, but I went with an adult's mind. And so I was like, you know it couldn't my I couldn't control my hands. I couldn't control anything, and I got frustrated. And so the only thing that came out my mouth was a cry, because I was trying to operate. I knew things. I had an adult mind in this baby's body, right? And I was trying to figure out what to do. Now, that was different, but similar to when I had a dream and I was three people at the same time in the one dream. Now, I was aware that I was me. And I was aware that I was also a scientist, and I was aware that I was also a dog. The scientist and me talked about this. Me and the scientist of myself said, "Why don't we do this experiment and include the dog?" And and it had something to do with the key and unlocking a door. And the scientist in me was supposed to be explaining to the dog, to the person, me, and me, I said, "Oh yeah, I talk dog language," but I didn't realize that, really what I was doing. I had to realize that I can't talk out loud to the dog so much as I can mimic things, intend what the thought is more so than actually say it. Because when you teach them certain things, this is me, this is my interpretation, but when you're teaching a dog, just like when you're teaching a child, you're teaching them away from what they already know. You're like indoctrinating them into what you prefer, what you know, what you have been miseducated about all your life. So there's things that we are more and more allowing these um CVID babies to teach us. And there are a lot of things that I'm seeing are like they're like at the head of the class when you talk about, when you look at the series of how many genius kinds of activities or superpowers or whatever. I'm hearing some things that are coming out of these babies' mouths that if the mamas would even listen, they don't want to listen to me. Oh, I know my baby so well. I cannot let what you say thinking the way I think. I don't think like that. And so that becomes a concern. And so I leave it alone. I don't say things most times. But this is the same with adults. I'm going to tell you, I hear a lot of things in the thoughts of others, but they'll never admit to it. They, don't want you to be reading their thoughts. So I try my best to stay out of others' frequencies. And it just happens sometimes. I'll hear a voice. I'll hear something. And I'm able to tune into where did that come from, and then able to say, oh, right back at you, or I recognize that, or give me a break, or send back a thought of well wishes. You're the strongest person I know. You can do what you need to do. Other than me, I see you as being a very powerful force in and of yourself. You and I both are very powerful. I am not in war at war with you. I am, in a space of love and and appreciation and gratitude. And I am high in high hopes that you picking up on my vibe of love. Precious mother love, that is. I'm gonna take a sip of my drink and pardon me for a second. Whoa, sorry about that, but my throat was getting dry. All right, last little thing. Like I said, I did make a few notes. So about the discovery of the caves and things under the pyramids. So that brought to mind, in reference to, let's see here, see if I was able to connect it. Well, okay, so Isis remembering and reassembling and rebirthing, or giving the final piece in place to be able to reproduce and produce new births, or uh, the rising of it rises in the sun, or at sunrise, or something of that nature. I do think that all that is associated, but right now, with the sun rising to the horizon, to the top of the horizon, to the place of where it is, the rebirth, the spring, the new life, it springing forward and springing up. I believe that the discovery of those caves and the text that relates to Sopdet, which was put in place to be a guide of the gods into, I don't know if you want to say tombs, into the sarcophagus, into the next version of themselves, into the next energy of themselves. I believe the discovery of those caves underneath the pyramid should put us in the mindset of that this is a new life, that we've been given an opportunity to get on the boat into and to sail into this new energy that's on the horizon, that we are given an opportunity to be impregnated or impregnate, whether you take, and I don't know if it's, oh, hermaphrodite. That's interesting, because I heard that Hermes and Aphrodite is the reason why hermaphrodites are called that. I don't know why that just came to mind, but in any case, oh, I know why. Because I was saying that, if we had both male and female, you know, we would be able to, you know, there's a lot of energy that we're gathering now. So it don't matter if you male or female, you are feeling this fertile energy. This energy is uh, in the ethers for us to access and tap into. So I believe that's about all I have that I would like to be able to say at this moment, at this time. And I just thank you guys for joining me. I just feel like, this is a fertile time for us to be able to recognize it's time to rise. It's time to, for the zombies that we've been mummified. They've turned into mommy's boys. They've turned into the black woman, the mommies that they want to be. The mammies that raised them, us they wanted to be, this is where I get I was told that there's a way of that those who want to be feminine, female, that have other than female attributes, that one of the things that they're imitating is, the feisty, zesty, you know that's why they, that's why they, so wanting to be like that which is reverent, the big mamas. I'm telling you, that energy is coming, is back, really, is not in full effect. It's rising to its position, to the place where, the mummies, wrapped in linen, where the mummy is the new mommy, the new big mama, has a whole different attitude about things. Yeah, you done gave them some things, some leverage and being in charge of some things, but innately, naturally, the affinity towards, we those of our own kind, even though that somewhat backfired to the degree that, instead of feeling the sisterly love that, the like, I don't want to say sororities per se, because there's no distinction in that, but just to say that, you know, Big Mama is, her influence is rising very fast in a zesty way. Saying things, on the side of, like, say, who Karen is on that side, Big Mama on this side, to say that, what, you better watch yourself, young man. You better stand up and act like, whatever. I'm just saying, Big Mamas are back. And, picking up the pieces and putting his places in putting the pieces in place, treasure hunting, digging for gold diggers. She motivated these fellas to come up to new levels, and so now she's, and let's go ahead and get a move on it so we can get out of this traffic type thing. But yeah, she's motivated some fellas to go to new levels and new heights, and I really think that black, I was gonna say black mamas, big mamas, are back in a place of reverence, that the youngins are starting to listen to someone like myself. And they are definitely on the right track. We not, it's one big goal, or one, we hand picking, and we're uplifting, and we passing down, and we're seeing our families returning to, what Trump is trying to encourage. You know, there are so many things that, will be helped by us standing on our own feet and not looking to these programs, and not, that's something that I've prided myself on for years, not to, I'm a entrepreneur by all accounts, serial entrepreneur since 5 years old. The first thing, let me let you see what's going on here. Let's see if we can turn this around. So yeah, so I am seeing that we're pooling ourselves together in better ways. We're having more, we're coming outside more, and encouraging, better, uh, uh, more, make it make sense. We're just trying to make things make sense. We're encouraging each other with, our ciphers and our research and our rabbit hole experiences, and sharing ourself, and sharing, what didn't work in the past and what we want to see for the future. Things that happened in the past, we are not destined to repeat if we can learn something from it. If we learn something from it, like, for instance, those cars, what you call those, bug car, the VWs, when they came back into circulation, they came back better. So yeah, it came back around, but it came back better. And then, the same thing for some of these other things, like the Mustang, came back as an electric vehicle. you know, it's even close to fly like an eagle to the sea. Oh, that reminds me, I've seen 3 or 4 eagles in the past couple of days. And I mean, like, flying right above me was one yesterday. I was on the Beltway, and as I came off the exit, me coming off the exit, and it came around and went around with me. And I was seeing the white underneath, and where the black started, and I was like, wow. It really gave me, a little bit of a boost on my black sun energy. I don't know why, but it felt like, I was lining up, and that was a sign of me, being in alignment. So I am about to head on the highway. I don't want to keep you any longer. I really sincerely appreciate you guys riding with me, co-piloting in the front seat with me. Thanks for uh, seeing us and hanging in there while we're sharing these words that are coming out the mouth, stumbling, flumbling out of my lips. But I'm telling you, I'm tapping into the higher self perspective and just sharing it on some things that it gave me to talk about. I didn't say I want to talk about this. I didn't mean to say that in that way. I hope I didn't hurt her feelings or the feelings of the place where that energy comes from. But one love and wellness family, thanks for being here for me. And okay, okay, fellas, folks, fans, friends, like, subscribe, and share. I'm sorry for me having to be blacked out and the signal going where it went. So, see you next time. Season 6, Heart Happy Hour. Precious Mother Love. Love plus art equals wellness. See you soon. Ashe. And that's why I was playing with my music, and I was trying to get you. Wellness events and workshops around the world. Yes. I have a trustworthy business partner, network and growth in my intelligence. I am it number 8. Say I am it number 8. Say I am it. I use wise ways to find his virtue. Visit ways for finesse, finesse my findings. My lifestyle is healthy. My lifestyle is healthy, and that's what this next song is about. But anyway, let's clock out. Time to go. One love and wellness. Ashe and peace.